Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Lowell Park here in Cotuit, Massachusetts, where the Cotuit Kettleers face off against the Wareham Gatemen. I am Sean Ellertson alongside Matt Liberman. This is pre-game Kettle Talk. And Matt, this Cotuit team is 3-7 in their last 10 ball games. What's been the most consistent factor in that struggle?
It would have to be a slow offense, and looking at the last, even if you stretch it to 11 games, in those 11 games they have 6 games where the pitching has held their opponent to 4 runs or less, which is a pretty good mark for a pitching staff in the Cape League, especially where you have so many dominant hitters. And in those games they're just 3-3, so that means that their offense just isn't coming through even when the pitching is holding their opponent to 4 runs or less. And like I said, that is a good mark. If your hitting cannot give you the run support to overcome that, that's a problem that you need to address moving forward.
And because of Cotuit's struggles recently, this West Division has really become jam-packed with just 3 points separating the 1 and the 4 seed. Matt, what is the key to Cotuit in these last 9 games to really separate themselves from the pack?
I think it has to be the hitting. If you look at it, the fielding, they started off the season really strong in the field, and that dipped of late, especially during the second half of the season thus far, but that hasn't been something that's impacted them that greatly. I mean, they've had a few blips here that have caused some runs, but if you look at those games, it actually hasn't been the deciding factor. And if you look at the pitching has been strong. I understand that they're losing a good amount of their pitching staff. Justin Hooper going home, Noah Davis going home, and earlier in the season, Adam Scott going home, Zane Collins now still on an innings limit, so the pitching staff is it's not looking great moving forward. You don't have a lot of depth, but they've continued to perform. The piece of this team that hasn't been performing is the offense, so that's something that they really need to pick up moving forward, because you can get by with an okay pitching staff as long as you can produce run support. If you can't get that run support, it doesn't matter. Your pitcher could go out and throw a one-run game, as we saw that earlier in the year in a loss to Wareham. They lost 1-0. You shouldn't be losing a 1-0 ball game. You should be able to get more run support than that. I mean, they've been shut out already this season now 3 times. That's not a recipe for success.
Right you are, Matt. Now let's go down to Biernat, who's standing fieldside with head coach Mike Roberts.
Thank you, Sean. Now, Coach, I talked to you about it a little bit yesterday, but this West Division race is very tight as only 3 points separate first and fourth place. Is this something that you address with your team, and have you seen a division race this close during your time here with Cotuit?
No, in my 14 years here, I've never seen it this close. I have not talked about it with the team at all. I'm sure they're aware of where we are, but every game, again, counts the same, so we just play it and add it up at the end. But it is tighter than I've ever seen, and we'll look forward. It'll be great, very competitive all the way to the end, and to me, that's what you want. You want to see if you can beat the best teams at the end, and we're looking forward to that.
Now, our starting pitcher today, Jason Billis, he did pitch for us on opening day here, and he has been here for 2 years. Can you kind of talk about the consistency that you've seen with him through the past 2 years and even just through this season?
Well, Jason's always prepared. His preparation is really good each day prior to his starts. And, I love watching him pitch. And, we're winding it down so we won't have that many more starts. But I'm really happy that he's pitching today. It's an important game for us, and I look forward for Jason being on the mound. And I think he'll do a great job.
Now, we have seen, I guess yesterday you guys were a little quiet on the mound at the plate yesterday, but we did see 2 hits from Terran Vavra. Can you kind of tell us how it's been to have a healthy Terran Vavra back? Talk about the little things that makes him so valuable to this team.
Well, it's great to have Terran back. He missed the first month of the season due to the concussion, and I had no idea what kind of player he actually was until he was able to get back and be in the lineup every day. But he does put the bat on the baseball on a regular basis. He puts it in play hard, and after I was able to see him, I've moved him up and up and up, and today's hitting third in the lineup. So it's really helped us, and he runs the bases extremely well, and I like that. He's playing second base, which is a new position for him, so he's kind of having to learn that, but he has been a great addition to the club. And when I say addition, he's been here the whole year. He's just now getting healthy.
Now, this can be kind of the tough part of the season to keep the guys focused on the summer season opposed to their college seasons that they get to go back to. Have you told them or sent them anything to kind of keep them coming out here and playing ball every night?
Oh, yeah, I text them in the middle of the night almost every night, and I enjoy doing that. Sometimes I do it before I go to bed very late at 12 or 1 o'clock. Sometimes I wake up and I text them. But, we always want to have a great attitude. We want them to come to the park, and it's self-motivation. I talk to all of our campers every week, and we have 120 this week, about self-motivation. And that's more important than coach motivation or parent motivation or, as I tell them, girlfriend motivation, whatever it may be. We want to be self-motivated. And what I look for is do they enjoy playing today toward the end of the season as much as they did the first week of the season. And that's really important, and this group does. So I'm very pleased with this entire team. We do need to wake up a little bit with the bats offensively and put some pressure on people, and hopefully we'll do that in these last 9 games.
Well, thank you, Coach, and looking forward to the game today.
Thank you.
Back to you, Sean.
Thank you, Kara. Now, Matt, looking forward to tonight's game. We get to see Jason Billis not against Bourne. Do you think he has the advantage tonight against these gatemen?
Well, I don't know. We've been talking all season long about how he should have the advantage against Bourne because he's seen them so many times. And again, it's really nice to not have him against Bourne. I mean, he started against Bourne more than he started against all the other teams in the league combined so far. So certainly something that he's probably happy to be rid of, that he's not facing Bourne because he hasn't performed all that well against them. But I would say that no, he doesn't have the advantage against Wareham. Wareham is a really strong hitting team. You look at that lineup, 1 through 7, I would say they are as good as anybody in the league. It's a lot of times it's their pitching that hasn't been performing or their fielding, even though they have some of the top-notch pitchers like Griffin Roberts, who dominated Cotuit last time they went out, held them to no runs. And so if you look at this Wareham team, they have the run support. When you look at the run differential across the West Division, they have the best run differential in the division, and it's because they can limit their opponents to a low amount of runs, but they can pour them on in a hurry. And so against Billis, who doesn't have great control or great command, he has really good stuff. It's just a question of, is it on? And if it's not on, I think that he could end up with a poor performance tonight against a team that will really make you pay.
Yeah, and Wareham has really been cooking as of late. Now let's go to the offensive side of the game for Cotuit. One guy who has been performing has been Taryn Vavra, who's returned from a concussion injury, had 2 hits last night out of the 4 that Cotuit could muster. What has impressed you about him since he's come back?
Well, I can't talk about his eye at the plate enough, because when you look at plate discipline, the first thing that you look for is the amount of walks, and he doesn't generate a whole lot of walks, but one of the things that he does incredibly for this team, and I would say probably better than anybody else on the team, is make contact. When you're looking at somebody that can just make contact, there's nobody better than him. That's why we saw earlier in the season Coach Roberts sub him in a pinch hitting situation in for Zach Cohn, and Zach Cohn has more power than Vavra does, but Vavra's just able to get the ball on the bat more than anybody. And when you get the ball on the bat, the hits will fall. And so looking at him of late, I know that he doesn't have enough at bats to qualify for the league lead in the general standards, but if you're looking at the team, he's leading the team in batting average now, ahead of Griffin Conine and Grayson Genista, who we can't even mention how important they have been for this team all season long in their hitting, but Vavra is leading them both in the average department.
And speaking of Griffin Conine, he is standing fieldside with sideline reporter Kara Biernat.
Thanks, Sean. Now, Griffin, you've had a big week this week with the All-Star game, and amidst having a huge summer in general, and you kind of step back and put it in perspective, can you talk about how great this experience has been and how proud of yourself you've been?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun getting to play with this many talented players, and the greatest league in the country as far as summer ball goes. So I've just been really glad I'm able to stay healthy the whole time, and really want to finish strong out here.
Now, I understand your family got to come out here for the All-Star game. Can you kind of talk about how special it was to share that experience with them?
Yeah, it was great. I just was glad they were even out here to begin with, and then to have a good game too, and not strike out 4 times was great also. So they had a blast, and I'm glad they could make it.
Now, I know a lot of people probably ask you how your dad influences your baseball career, but I'm curious as to how he kind of balances his career along with your career. I know he pushes you in the right direction, but how does it benefit you that he also lets you kind of be your own type of baseball player?
Yeah, he definitely understands. We're very different as far as our offensive and defensive capabilities go. He played different positions, and he's a righty. So as far as that goes, he definitely focuses more on the mental side of things, because that's where he can offer the most insight, I think, just because we are so different as far as the type of players we are. So he helps a lot with the mental side of things, which I think is the hardest part of baseball.
Now, you've played about 30 or so games with this Cotuit team. Can you talk about the chemistry that you've developed with these guys in the dugout?
Yeah, we have fun. I think everyone knows that. Our bullpen might be the most ruthless in the entire league, and they keep things real light. So even when things aren't going well for us as a team or individually, we're always having fun. So that's what it's all about.
Well, thank you, Griffin, and good luck tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Back to you guys.
Thank you, Kara. Now I'm here with Matt McHugh, another beat reporter for the Cotuit Kettleers. And Matt, let's get to your X factor. Is it Jason Billis, or is it a guy who is going to be providing the offense for him?
Well, Billis undoubtedly will be very important for this game. I'm going to go on the offensive side today, though. I'm going to say Michael Tolia is the X factor for today's game. I think he has some of the most raw power, if not the most raw power in the lineup. A switch hitter, that's a very dangerous weapon. He drops down to 5th in the order today. That might be a bit of a wake-up call. He's had a rough couple games at the plate, as really the whole team has. So it's a big time for the offense to wake up. He's a huge part of it. If he can get going today, good things will happen for this Cotuit offense.
And I'm assuming your key to the game is also going to be on the offensive side. So what is your key to the game tonight?
Well, yeah, undoubtedly the offense needs to start picking some things up for this team. It's going to be a new starter on the mound, someone they haven't seen from Wareham before. And when that is the case, you want to try to work the pitcher, as with any pitcher. Try to get him into that third time through the order. Work the pitch count, get him in some 15, 20 pitch innings early on. Then you can try to get him that third time through the order by the 4th or 5th inning. You'll be sitting pretty well. You can get to that bullpen earlier and kind of put Wareham in an uncomfortable spot for the rest of this game.
And let's see if Cotuit can scratch across a run tonight like they did last night against Brewster. That's all for pregame Kettle Talk. For Matt McHugh, Matt Liberman, and Biernat, I am Sean Ellertson. First pitch at 5 p.m. here at Lowell Park.